I want you to imagine a fleet of autonomous 3D printed aircraft taking off from a farm in rural Wisconsin.
Right, and it's a farm entirely powered by hydrogen.
Exactly. Built straight into like 600 million year old bedrock. Okay, let's unpack this. Because what sounds like a sci-fi blueprint for a Mars colony is actually a real feasibility assessment we are diving into today.
Yeah, it's super fascinating. It's for the Atherhelm campus in Langlade County.
Driven by LMA, which is a disabled veteran-owned enterprise, right? And the mission here is basically revitalizing rural municipalities, places like Vilas and Ackley.
And they want to do that by merging aerospace manufacturing, hydrogen power, and regenerative agriculture. Just building this one giant closed-loop 100-acre ecosystem.
Right. And to really grasp the sheer scale of this project, you kind of have to look at the region's glacial geology.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we aren't just talking about pouring a standard concrete slab here. They need absolute, uncompromising structural stability for precision aerospace testing.
And the 3D printing.
Right, so they actually plan to excavate deep into Precambrian bedrock to build these subterranean labs. They even want to include a mechanical living stream down there.
Okay, but I do have to push back on the logistics there. Reading through the sources, there is up to 200 feet of wet glacial till sitting on top of that bedrock.
Yeah, which is basically just wet sand and gravel.
Right. So how do you dig a massive hole through that without completely draining the local aquifers? I mean, if you are out in rural Wisconsin, the surrounding farms rely heavily on that shallow groundwater.
Well, what's fascinating here is the sheer engineering tightrope walk they have to perform. The dewatering challenge is, frankly, intense.
I can imagine.
Yeah, they are navigating incredibly strict non-metallic mining regulations, specifically to protect those shallow, calcium-rich groundwater reserves.
So it's not just digging a hole.
No, not at all. It requires rigorous hydrological modeling and precision blasting, to ensure they don't trigger seismic disruptions in the aquifer above.
Wow. Okay, so they secure the subterranean fortress. But the surface is where it gets really wild, I think.
The ecosystem above ground, yeah.
Yeah, it operates as a completely zero pesticide loop. They use the aquahydroponic effluent, basically the wastewater from raising fish, to feed their 3D printed crop structures.
And instead of synthetic chemicals, they are using natural predators. Like they use raptors and dense blackberry hedgerows for pest control.
Which is incredible, and they're growing lemongrass and industrial hemp, too.
Right, which act as massive carbon sinks. But they also serve a highly practical purpose. They harvest the strong, woody bast fibers from the hemp to actually build biocomposite material.
For the hulls of their VTOL aircraft. And here's where it gets really interesting. Those ultralight vertical takeoff and landing craft, they feature AI and LIDAR.
Yeah, the collision avoidance systems.
Exactly. But the kicker is that they are engineered specifically to aid visually and mobility impaired veterans. The whole ecosystem feeds into this one highly specialized manufacturing goal.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
But bridging that gap between closed-loop agriculture and advanced aerospace takes a massive amount of cheap energy.
Which brings us to the hydrogen hurdle.
Right. They are planning a hydrogen recharging station using metal organic framework tanks, or MOF tanks. Because MOFs hold hydrogen in a crystal sponge-like structure, they don't need to be kept under terrifyingly high pressure.
Not like traditional 700
The
bar
Aqua
tanks.
Beetle.
Exactly.
100% electric.
But ironically,
Amphibious and
because the
able to tow
technology
over
is so new,
12,000
it puts them in a
pounds.
regulatory gray area.
265 miles
The
on
state
land,
safety codes
165
just
miles
don't
in the
quite know how
water.
to classify them yet.
So they need a special variance from Wisconsin's DSPS codes just to install them. It's like a giant puzzle where zoning laws, geology, and funding all have to snap together perfectly. Which makes me wonder, how do they offset that $15 million baseline capex?
Well, the assessment points to a really pragmatic, bifurcated strategy for that. If the land assemblage or that massive bedrock excavation becomes too legally or financially burdensome, they have a backup plan.
Moving the heavy manufacturing to the Antigo Industrial Park near Highway 45.
Right, a shovel-ready site. And to cover the costs, they are stacking capital, combining WBIC veteran loans with USDA grants.
And tapping into the Mach H2 Clean Hydrogen Hub. It's brilliant. So what does this all mean for you listening at home?
Yeah, why does this matter?
Because it is a living blueprint for rural economic revival. Places like Ackley are facing severe population decline. Injecting high-tech jobs directly into the local economy could completely reverse that trend.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it leaves us with a highly provocative thought. If Atherhelm proves that hyper-localized, closed-loop mega-campuses can thrive completely off-grid,
Wait, do you mean?
Yeah, will the future of aerospace and heavy industry eventually abandon massive coastal cities entirely and retreat into self-sustaining rural fortresses?
Oh, wow. Building our own sci-fi colonies right here on Earth, that is definitely something for you to mull over.